All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. We're talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers in tonight's video. Guys, this is a 3-0 football team. They just took down one of the most rising, young, Harbaugh-led teams in the Los Angeles Chargers with a really good defense, a really dynamic, versatile offense. J.K. Dobbins, Justin Herbert this past weekend. And I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 3-0 with Justin Fields as starting quarterback. Nobody really expected this team. I've been a firm believer saying this is a 10-11 win team since the start of the summer, whether it was Russ or whether it was Justin Fields. But nobody really expected the Steelers to be 2 games leading the AFC North just 3 games into the season. Right? Opponents are currently scoring a touchdown on 16.7% of their trips into the red zone against Pittsburgh. It's early, but that's on pace to be the best statistic, the best rate in the National Football League since at least the year 2000. You got an offense that has ran 108 times as a team. They've thrown 91 times with Justin Fields dropbacks, and it's been way more than enough. We said the entire season this defense is top 5. And I feel like that's being generous to the rest of the National Football League. They're a little bit closer to 1 than they are 5, in my opinion. But guys, this team, they're legit. They're as legit as they come. And, we'll talk about Russ and we'll talk about Justin, but honestly, the best case scenario for this Pittsburgh Steelers team is if Justin Fields is the long-term franchise quarterback. I know we're only 3 games in, but he looks really good, as you guys know. So before we get any further into tonight's video, if you guys enjoy it, be sure to hit that like button, hit that sub button for daily NFL content. Steelers fans, I love you guys so much. Seriously, this team has just been so underrated. They've been so underrated the entire summer, and even 3 games in, sitting at 3-0, they're still underrated. If you can try and get this video to 100 likes, folks, that would mean the absolute world to me. We're posting a ton of Steelers content every single week. So let's look into this game a little bit, because unfortunately the Steelers currently are being decimated by injuries. Troy Fautanu, Alex Highsmith as of late. We'll get into all that towards the end of the video. But Pittsburgh started this game pretty ugly. They were down 7-0, and I'm fully aware Bosa got injured. I'm fully aware Herbert ends up getting banged up and sits the rest of the game. But honestly, none of that really mattered, in my opinion. The Steelers started the game really slow. It was 7-0 after the first quarter, and they were down 10-7 heading into halftime. They went 3-and-out on 3 of their first 4 drives. By halftime, they had ran the football 9 times for only 14 yards. That's a 1.6 yard per carry. Justin Fields is the reason, along with this defense, obviously, but Justin Fields is a huge reason, if not the reason, that not only they're 3-0, but they won this past Sunday. He was accurate. He was accurate, especially on early downs. He was putting the Steelers up for success, having 3rd and manageables as opposed to having 3rd and 8s and 3rd and 9s and 3rd and freaking 15, like kind of his era with the Chicago Bears. He was hitting dudes in the middle of the field. He was hitting dudes between the safeties. He was just doing everything. And Pat Freiermuth had to say this: we opened up the pass game a little bit more. They invested in their edges, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa. So we were trying to attack the middle of the interior of their defense. And stats speak for themselves. We'll get into his stats in just a second. 25-32, 245 yards, a touchdown, and then, the bad interception. But, we can live with that. This team looks really good. And the Steelers are currently preparing Justin Fields to start in week 4 in the same place with Russ. So the Steelers, like we just said, they're prepping for Justin to make his 4th consecutive start. And this is what Mike Tomlin said, based solely or mostly on Russell Wilson's ongoing calf injury. He said he met with him earlier today on Tuesday morning and the team's medical staff. And the expectation is still that he's going to be a limited participant in practice, just like he's been through the first 3 weeks of the season. And Mike Tomlin also said today, by the way, guys, Russell Wilson is still on pen quarterback 1 for the Pittsburgh Steelers, even though he's currently injured. But Justin Fields, you have to ride the hot hand. Even if Russell Wilson becomes a full participant, even if Russ is not or I should say this, even if Justin Fields isn't the week 17 starter or the week 14 starter, you still have to deploy this kid because you're 3-0. Through 3 games, Fields has completed 73.3% of his passes for 418 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 1 interception. He's also rushed 90 yards, 28 attempts, and a touchdown. More importantly, though, he's just been able to put points on the board, move the chains, and let the defense continue to do what the defense does. In the first 2 games of this season, Pittsburgh was very safe. They were very conservative. They didn't want to put too much on Justin Fields' shoulders. They had more rushing attempts than any team in the league through the first 2 weeks. But Fields has attempted more than 72% of his passes outside the numbers. And then there's been a couple of deep shots to guys like, mainly George Pickens. But, for the most part, the Steelers played a very safe passing game, a very safe offense in the first 2 weeks. But the other day against the Chargers, it was much different because you were going up against the Chargers defense that entered allowing a league best 6.5 points per game. Fields had his best Steelers performance by far. Like we just said, 25 of 32, 245 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He actually even only had 6 rushing attempts for only 6 rushing yards, including that touchdown. Like, he can throw. He can whip it. As long as he's not fumbling, as long as he's not throwing interceptions, just like every quarterback in the National Football League, he's still going to put you in positions to win this football game. But one thing that was just very apparent to me, especially with Calvin Austin's 55-yard bullet, with that, 4.3 speed, the dude's so unbelievably fast. Justin Fields is just a winning guy right now with Pittsburgh. And he's got weapons, and he's got this belief system that I just don't think was there with the coaching staff or management even in Chicago. Now, it's not all been perfect. On Friday, this past Friday, first-round draft pick Troy Fautanu, he was placed on the injured reserve. He got injured at practice. And then during Sunday's game, you lost Alex Highsmith, who injured his groin. He battled that in training camp. According to Jeremy Fowler, he's going to be sidelined for a couple of weeks. The good news is Nick Herbig has stepped up immediately in his place, just like he did on Sunday. Herbig's been a really good player since the Steelers drafted him a little over a year ago. He had 3 total tackles, 2 sacks, and that forced fumble. Herbig is next up, and Patrick Queen, Landon Roberts, Peyton Wilson, you name it. The Steelers have depth at every single position on the defensive side. But injuries just keep racking up. Najee Harris was wearing a sling yesterday. Jaylen Warren was pulled from Sunday's game because he was dealing with this back injury, and Mike Tomlin said he just doesn't have the same burst. So it's not been perfect. But at the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers, in the most competitive division in the AFC/NFL, they're 3-0 with a nice little road matchup against the Indianapolis Colts this upcoming Sunday. So thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button. And folks, we got ragged on saying the Steelers are an 11-win team all summer. If you had to just assume in, whether it's Justin or Russ, whatever it is, if you had to give me a win-loss prediction for the Steelers for the entire season right now through 3 games, let me know what that is down below. Thank you guys for watching. Hit that like button, hit that sub button, and we'll see you in a couple of days. Peace.